How's it going today?
That's great. A lot of interviews, as you can imagine. The record will be out tomorrow. So, yeah, lots and lots of interviews the last couple of weeks, very busy.
Yeah, almost at that finish line. I mean, maybe speak to us about how it feels, when you've been working on a project and it's about to finally be out to the world. That must be an interesting feeling.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because I'm so excited. The record will be out tomorrow, as I said. So I can't wait. I can't wait for the people reactions, So I'm very excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, what has been sort of some of the reaction you've gotten so far from, insiders and people in the business who've heard it?
They all love it. They all love the record. I mean, especially the journalists, I'm talking to the guys like you. It's so incredible. So it's so well accepted, I had a few guys from the UK. They say, "Oh, we give you 5 out of 5. If there were six available, I will give you a 6 out of 5." I said, "Thank you very much appreciated. I love it. It's so exciting. I'm yeah, really looking forward to the release tomorrow."
I mean, when I say, your 22nd studio album, what is
Yeah.
the first reaction that you have to a statement like that? I mean, that's an incredible body of work. How does it feel?
I don't know. When I started my solo career way back in 1989, you see, I'm a very old man. When somebody would have told me at that time that you were still making records 35 years later, and you still have a success and you have followers, say you crazy. I couldn't believe that, but no, it's right. Excuse me. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, is that something that I guess you didn't anticipate, or maybe did
Right.
you even think of the longevity of it in the beginning of your career? Was that even something that you thought about?
Of course, I would love to, but I didn't know it. So
Right.
I'm glad that I made it that way.
Absolutely. I mean, it seems like a lot of people, they're still gravitating to you just as much as before. I mean, one of the great comments that I read on your latest video here,
Yeah.
this one says, "The wait has been killing me. 10 more days until the record's released." This was obviously a few days
Right.
ago. He says,
Yeah.
"After 56 years, I finally got a passport so I can go see ARP and his band live." I mean, how does it feel for you
Yeah.
to have that type of anticipation from people?
It's great. It's just a great feeling, I'm reading the comments now. Sometimes when I have the time for it, I can't read every comment and I can't read any review. I can't listen to it because I'm very, very busy at the moment. So, but a few things I already noticed and I love it, So it gives me goosebumps, when people say something like that, especially. Yeah, great.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, in terms of the production of Risen Symbol, how long did it actually take to piece this project together, up until this point?
And I'm always writing, when I just close the door, finish the record, we're going back home, putting up my gear in my house, then I pick up the guitar after 2 or 3 or 4 days break, and suddenly a riff comes to my mind, and I say, "Wow, this is great!" I press the recording button of my cell phone, and just to get the idea, later after a couple of months, several months, I sit down, make a big sheet of paper, and I listened to every snippet I recorded in the past, and I said, "Okay, idea number two is crap, one is crap, three, oh, this is good, and maybe idea number three fits perfectly to idea number 28, and I make
Mm,
songs out of it." But the demos took me about to record the demos 5 or 6 weeks, including writing all the lyrics and stuff, and the recording actually. We started on the 4th of December last year till the 22nd of December. We recorded every instrument apart from the vocals. And then we made a break over Christmas and New Year's Eve. And he sang in between. He did it at his own house in Connecticut, in his own little studio. And then
nice.
we did the mix around 6th or 7th of January to took us 10 or 12 days, and then everything was done. Yeah.
Wow. So, do you really like have a process, every time, like, okay, for this set of weeks we're doing demos, then we're doing a mix, or is it like we just
Yes.
sort of take it as it comes?
No, no. I make a plan before. I have to have a schedule for the other guy, for the other musicians too. And not playing only in my band. Bobby's playing all over around on the East Coast, whatever. Freddie, the keyboard player, so many different projects and bands. So I made a schedule 1 year ahead. And I said,
Wow.
okay, at this time, this thing. Of course, I have to book the hotel rooms for all the guys who coming over. So we
Right.
have to book it way in advance, 2, 3, 4 months in advance, It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, in terms of going through your music and, you'll say like, you'll pick five songs, you'll say these ideas are, in your words, crap. I mean, is that hard to say that about your own work? And like, have there
No.
ever been ideas that you really want to do, but it just doesn't work sonically? Like, how do you manage that?
I don't give a shit. When I listen back and I say, well, this is crap. I don't know why I recorded that shit. I don't, I'm thinking about there are lots and lots of more other riffs and other ideas which I knew that were great. And
Yeah.
when I listen back, I say, wow, this is really cool. I have to make a song out of it. Sometimes shit happens.
Yeah. So it's not really hard to edit yourself when you're really
Oh,
just focused on the overall goal.
no, I'm self-critical. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. I mean, is that something that it took you some time to get used to, or was that the way you were just from the beginning of your career?
Oh, just from the beginning of my career, I always writing stuff, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good, but I don't follow the stuff which is not good in my ears, in my opinions, of course. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, what would be some advice that you could give to somebody who, or I guess a band who struggles with that? Because I think a lot of people, their egos when it comes to making music, that's at the forefront, and they can't separate their ego from the creativity of the
Right.
actual work.
Yeah, the best thing is when you invite some friends or people very good to tell you the real truth. Not people who say actually you say, oh, it's very good, but they think in other ways, you know what I mean? So
Right.
there has to be really honest people to tell you the truth. If this a song is good or not. Don't listen too much to yourself, of course to yourself, but then invite some friends, like I said. Yeah,
Yeah. Definitely that non-artist ear is going to really tell you the honest opinion, right?
exactly. Yes, you got it.
That makes sense. Going back to the beginning for you, I was just sort of curious what it was looking like in the beginning of your career. Were you actually like, did you come up in Germany musically, or where exactly did you begin?
I began in Germany, of course, because I'm born in Germany. I live in Germany. I started, when I saw actually, I was in totally different kind of music when I grew up when I was a kid. And then I suddenly saw Deep Purple perform on TV, which was not very often on TV, like bands like that. I think it was the beginning of the 70s. You see, I'm a very old guy. And I saw Richie Blackmore playing the Fender Stratocaster, his guitar, throwing it in the air. The magical aura was there, all dressed in black. I'd say, "Wow, this is cool." And then I totally changed my mind. I followed this kind of music, hard rock, heavy metal, heavy rock, whatever it was called at that day. And I was more into music and more into guitar playing. Then I got my first guitar for my 12th birthday from my parents, acoustic guitar, and I tried to play. Of course, I failed. Then I had a teacher for I think 9 or 10 months, and yeah, actually it worked after a while. Yeah, and I'm happy.
Yeah, it seems to have worked out okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you mentioned the differences between the music like before bands like Deep Purple hit in Germany. What was the main difference, if you could sort of describe that?
The main difference was because the hard rock or metal at the time was brand new. It wasn't there at the time. Bands like Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep. What else? We got UFO, of course. They had a big hit with even before the Schenker era with Boogie for George and Prince Kajuku. I remember that between 1970 and 1971. Before bands like, it was like the Beatles, Rolling Stones, a bit like, I don't know, the Equals. I don't know, that's gonna say the Hollies. But this was kind of more rock and but no metal influence. So
Mm,
bands like Sabbath and Deep Purple, they invited this kind of music, and it was in fact great for me.
that heaviness. So
Yeah. Right, exactly.
maybe if you could speak on that. I mean, obviously Richie and I mean, there's Rainbow, the Rainbow influence as well. I mean, what was it
Yeah.
about these guys that really spoke to you in that
And
specific way?
the combination of Ronnie James Dio, brilliant vocals, brilliant voice, and the enthusiastic guitar playing of Richard, the combination. the right melodies, all sometimes the song have a very melancholy or whatever you say. I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay, so it's great, and some medieval stuff's going on there, some classical things, and the combination was perfect. I saw Rainbow performing live in 1976. This was my third rock concert I attended. It was
Wow.
a classic lineup with Richie Blackmore, Ronnie Dio, Cozy Powell on drums, Jimmy Bain on bass, and Tony Carey on keyboards. I stood there in the audience. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is that? I've never
Yeah.
seen it before. It was the best concert I ever attended in my life. Yeah.
Wow. And I mean, it must be interesting for you when you look out and you see people, having that same expression at your shows. I mean,
Yeah.
having played all over the world, are there any sort of runs like, or, I guess legs of tours or even specific places that you've gone and just the whole experience for you of performing there and just seeing the sights just really made an impression on you? And I'm sure there's multiple, but any that you can think of
But
right
yeah,
now.
as you said, multiple. You know what I was remember? It was way before the war and was way before the COVID thing. We played in Russia, in Moscow, and in St. Petersburg.
Wow.
And we went the first time we went to Russia, Moscow was the first show. And it was a female promoter. I said, what do you think? How many people will show up? Maybe 200, 300? She looked at me like crazy. She said, it's sold out since months. I said, I don't know. Nobody told me. And it was, I don't know, 1,500 people there packed. And the
Wow.
people were great. I remember when we went outside the hotel. I'm a smoker. I smoke cigarettes. It wasn't allowed in the hotel, of course. We were at the five-star
Right.
hotel. I came out of the entrance door, and on the right and left side, couple of feet away, there were ashtrays, and the people were. I say, "Oh, sorry, I just woke up in the morning, hairs like this. I say, I just want to have I just want to smoke a cigarette. Can I touch you? Can I touch you? You're a living legend." I said, "No,
Wow.
I'm only a guitar player." No, no, a living legend. And then the guy showed up. He traveled all over Russia. He came from, I don't know, Novosibirsk or whatever in the east of Russia. He traveled with a train for 1 week to see us performing. And then on the next day, he traveled back for 1 week.
Wow.
It was his year vacation, he spent just to see us. That was amazing. I couldn't believe that, but it was true. Yeah.
And you had this idea that maybe, a couple hundred people would show up and they weren't really aware in Russia. I mean, that must be, especially, before the internet, a super strange feeling that these people really know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I didn't have a clue. Nobody told me. It was the first time in Russia. There were a few shows planned years before, but it never happened because they changed
Right.
this and changed that. But now it was perfect. Yeah.
Wow. That's insane. I mean, how about, performing in places like South America? I'm curious about sort of the way that they react.
We never played in South America because we
Okay.
never received a good fair offer.
Okay.
Same with the North America. I have two Americans in the band, Bobby and Johnny, drummer and singer. And I always ask this guy, what do you think about a US club tour or a small venue tour, whatever? I think Axel, don't do it. This kind of music is over in the States. If you're lucky,
Mm.
you'll get 100 people or maybe 120, and then you will lose money. I said, okay, fair enough. So they must know it because they're living there.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've had quite a few conversations about that. I mean, what do you
Yeah.
think it is that keeps sort of, I would say the authentic music like yours, going in Europe and such more so than maybe in America?
Yeah, right. What's the question? Sorry?
Like, what do you think that the difference is? Like, why do you think it's so much more prevalent in Europe rather than the
I,
US where you
I
say
don't
it's
have,
over?
I don't have any clue. I really don't know because
Yeah.
I never was as you said, this is my 22nd solo album. I never had a down in this country or in Europe. They always the people get more and more and more followers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I'm
guess it's
lucky,
something we can't really answer right here, right? But I mean, that's
right?
that's
I
that's
think so.
fascinating though. So I mean, in terms of that connection
Yeah.
in Europe, after being, such a veteran, how has sort of your fan interaction changed over the years? Are you still, going out for a cigarette and talking to the fans, or is it a different
Yeah.
situation now?
No, it's no difference. I'm a very down to earth guy. We're a band when we're actually when the show is over, we go into the tour bus. There are no police, whatever. Do not lie. Do not cross this line or whatever. We make selfies, we make photos with the fans, we sign everything. And I always did that, and I always will do that because the people paid money for you to see you live, or they paid money to get the record, so they have a right to get the signature of selfie. I don't give a shit. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's kind of stuns me when some artists act annoyed by that because I mean, it's like this is all
Yeah,
you ever worked for is having those people, and now they're
exactly,
here. You should appreciate it.
exactly. We were on tour with several different kind of huge big bands. And I noticed it. I said, what the fuck are they doing? That do not cross this line, do not cross this line. No, he wants to go to straight to the bus. Don't ask any question. Don't ask for a selfie. I say, what the fuck? I don't know. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, how about in terms of vocalists? Obviously Johnny Gelly, I don't know if I'm
Gio,
pronouncing that last name right.
Johnny Gioeli.
Gioeli, there we go. That sounds better.
Gioeli.
Gioeli, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah. So basically, in terms of him, I mean, the chemistry there is just unbelievable. Maybe if you could
yeah,
speak to that, the stage presence and the chemistry just in general is incredible with you guys.
yeah. That's right. Absolutely. Because he's so good because I'm paying big money.
There you go.
No,
So he's gonna be good.
no, no, you gotta be good. No, better you better. No, I mean Johnny is great. He's a fantastic singer. He's one of the top five hard rock, heavy metal, heavy rock vocalists, however you call it in the world. In my opinion, he can sing everything, and he's great on that. But the problem is he knows that.
Oh, there you go. I mean, when you sort of work with different singers, obviously in features and things like that,
Yeah.
is it an innate thing that you just know when it's right when somebody's singing with you, or is it a situation where you have to give it a couple tries and really feel it out?
No, because every singer I worked with started with Charlie Hume, then Rob Rock, Jeff Scott Soto, and Johnny Gioeli. Everybody's different, but they're still great. They were very professionally. I never had to tell something really bad to them or change this, change that. There was no need to. They're all great.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to bring the best in, right?
Right, right. I
Um,
mean, I'm my own producer, when Johnny, for example, recording the vocals, I mean, they are my vocal lines and melodies. I always write the lyrics and doing my own shilly vocals on my demo tape just to give Johnny an impression on how the silhouette and how the rhythm wise it would work. But I really can't sing. I'm a bad, 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 the worst singer in the world. Anyway, who cares? And so when I talk to Johnny about it, I'm my own producer, say, Johnny, can you bring this line up a bit? Yeah, yeah, I try. Sometimes it happens that Johnny has a good idea. Axel, is it okay when I put the melody down at the end of that line? I say,
right.
yeah, give it a try, but I like it. And mostly it's awesome. Yeah.
That's amazing. Another thing I was curious about Axel in sort of the
Yeah.
European scene, it seems to me like a lot of artists out that way, it's a lot more of a grassroots organic fan base. So there seems to be a lot less time spent on TikTok and just all this extra promotion online. Is this something that you've noticed compared to some of the American bands? And again, is that something that you could speak to at all in terms of like why do you think there's so much more grassroots, love for the metal music in Europe?
I don't have a clue. If I would know it, I would directly follow this path. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
But
We'd all do it.
yeah, but I really don't know. You just mentioned TikTok. I'm too old for that. I know what TikTok is, but it's you have to be online every fucking 10 minutes or whatever, and you have to do this, blah, 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 blah. I don't have the time for it, and I don't have the, I don't know, background for that. I don't know.
Yeah. And maybe it's a relief that you don't have to deal with it because I think there's a lot of people who
Right.
wish they didn't have to.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. You're right. Yeah.
That's very true. I mean, how about in terms of some of the influences that are cited on this record? There's hints of Zeppelin, definitely, obviously, with, hints of the immigrant song. Black
Yeah.
Sabbath. Maybe speak on taking some of these classic influences while also retaining that modern production sound, because what we've heard from the record sounds incredible.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Yeah. Yeah, you just mentioned, Led Zeppelin was a big influence on myself, and other guy, like I said, Roddy Dio and Rainbow, and what else? I don't know. I'm glad that we found our own style, and the production is very cool on this record. I agree. The sound is very powerful.
Yeah.
And what else can I say? It's the best record I did so
Yeah.
far.
I mean, is there any comparison when making this record? If you go back to the first project that you made, are there any comparisons, in terms of the production and the process?
Oh, yeah,
And, what
of
what are the
course.
main differences as well?
The main difference when I recorded my first solo album in 1989 with Charlie Yoon on vocals, we only had, I think, 12 days, including the mix, including recording everything and including the mix. It was a very short time. We did
Yeah.
it, but you can hear, say, oh, this is bad. I have to do the guitar solo. I would like to do it again. There's no time for it. Go for the next one. And that makes it really strange. I mean, it was okay at that time. It was the first record, and they say, okay, fuck you, whatever, it's great. It's good enough. But
Yeah.
nowadays, it's completely different. Of course, you have more time. If I need more time, for example, for the next record, maybe I need 2 weeks more, then I take the 2 weeks more. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's not, but there's a big difference, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. At first, you
And the
sort
other
of get the
difference,
time you're given.
yeah, but on the other hand, in 1989, there was no digital equipment. All was analog recorded on the big tapes, big tape machine. And it took a lot of time, especially when you're doing overdubs with a solo guitar or keyboards or whatever. Nowadays, it's going ba, 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 ready, done. Next one, please.
Do you prefer the modern way or the classic way?
Oh, the modern way, definitely, because your
Yeah.
technique is so brilliant at this time. It saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. The record is going to be dropping tomorrow as of when this is recorded and airing. It's going to be the 22nd studio album from Axel Rudi Pell. And I really appreciate you taking the time to join me today.
Thank you very much. Appreciated. My pleasure. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much for having me. Thank